Alright, so let's take a look at dynnamesh. In this case, what we're going to need is some kind of tool or project. I always pick on this cube because it's just so much fun. Turn off perspective. This time we're going to take it down all the way to 1, and then we're going to reconstruct subdivide and then delete higher and then divide. So basically it's this nice sphere, and the sphere has a certain topology. And the topology is one that you can mess around with quite often. So you can go like this and take the move elastic tool, make your brush bigger. But once you get to a certain part, like this, you'll see that the polyframe on it is very stretched out, very oblong. Now you could add more polys, that's true. I could hit divide and then I'll have even more polygons, and then I could get away with some more crazy shapes. But at one point you're going to make it so that you wouldn't be able to add legs to this character. There's no doubt. Okay, so that's where dynnamesh comes in. What if you wanted to go past the normal? Now, as long as I use the elastic move tool, this mesh should turn out okay. Anytime I add a new level, it should be alright. But let's go into dynnamesh. I'll show you how that works. So we'll take this mesh, and first I'm just going to, I'll just go in here and blur it, and I'm going to go into dynnamesh, but I don't think I want to start with 128, even though I'll show you the advantages of maybe going to 128 right off the bat. So we'll go to like 24 in dynnamesh. Now it's going to take the lowest level, so to fight that, I just hit undo and delete lower. So now this is the lowest. We'll go with 128. So you can see there's a lot of polygons here, and that might be a little difficult for some to manage. So mess around with the resolution a little bit. Keep your hand on the undo until you're happy. That looks a lot better. Now the idea here is to get a base mesh that you can sculpt on. So let's go insane. Start just see, no matter what I do, the form stays pretty good. Alright, at some point you should pick an angle and just kind of go with it. And of course the goal of any Zbrush project that deals with dynnamesh is to make something amazingly weird and try to form it into some kind of vehicle. That's usually the premise of things. Mine could be a skull. So when I get to a point where things are starting to get a little wonky, I can go over here and hold control and click and drag down. That will remesh it and equalize the mesh. And you can see no matter what I do, I can pretty much save myself and just equalize the mesh. Alright, now the moral of the story is this. Now I can't go back. I can't reconstruct subdivide because really there is none. It's a triangle at that point. So just be very careful about what you choose as far as resolution is concerned, because anything that you choose, that's basically how it's going to go. Now, you could take dynnamesh and turn it off, hit dynnamesh again, but you notice you can't up the polygons. You're stuck at the original resolution that you chose here. So a way around that is to make it a poly mesh and then go back into dynnamesh, and then you can up the resolution there. So that's a great way to fix that. Now, what if you wanted to go back down levels though? Let's say I wanted to make a lower level of this. You could do that. First off, go over here to make a poly mesh, and then take this poly mesh and do a decimation master, so pre-process current. And then in decimation master, you could choose like maybe 1% decimation and decimate. So there we go. I have now a lower level resolution mesh based on that design. Cool. So great for making little pieces of armor and whatnot. But remember that when you go to divide this, it's going to look a little wonky. So what I would do is, since it's already kind of smooth, is take off smooth and divide it, and then just hit it with a polish. And you can find polish under the deformation. There we go. See? So now you have levels that you can sculpt on still. What about UVs, right? You're going to ask about those. You can do UVs. They are in here. UV master. You can say unwrap. And now if you look over here under UV map, you can go morph UV, and this will show you what the UVs look like stretched out. Just hit frame. It's a big, huge, hot mess, but it is unwrapped. It was a pretty hot mess version of, we'll just call a vertebrae. There we go. It looks like a vertebrae. So that's a little bit about decimation or dynnamesh, how you can integrate it with decimation master, how you can put UVs on it still, and still have a usable mesh. Loosely talked about usable mesh, but still good to go. Enjoy.